Right, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to this weekend episode of The Truth with Ben Jokes, your trusted channel for political analysis. Tinubu committed to inspiring hope in Nigeria, says presidency. Now, some of you may need to read that again to realize that it is an empty statement, empty, deceitful, and sad. But just a glance at it shows me all I need to see. It is as empty can be. What is hope when over 7.8 million small businesses have crashed in Nigeria in the last 23 months? That is the report there. 7.8 million SMEs die in 2 years as born. No fewer than 7.8 million small businesses under the Association of Small Business Owners of Nigeria, ASBON, have died within the last 2 years, according to information exclusively obtained by The Punch. The president, ASBON Femi Egbeshola, disclosed this to The Punch during an interview. So where is the hope? The word hope and Tinubu should not even be in the same sentence. If you know anything about economy, you will know that economies are driven by production and small and medium scale enterprises. Tinubu is not producing and his policies have killed SMEs. So where is the hope here? The situation is as hopeless as can be. And in the area of insecurity, we are worse than we were under Buhari. But Tinubu and his cohorts are only concerned about 2027. What a shame. A few hours ago, Boko Haram embarrassed the Chief of Defense Staff after his statement in Borno State, sending fear all across the northeast, and concurrently, a disgraceful update came out of Akpabio State. Akpabio is practically moving to put an end to anything democracy in the state. Before I show you details of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this video. Situation report from a lawyer and indigene of Rivers State. See the video.
What is happening in Rivers State is really pathetic. I have always expressed my displeasure and dissatisfaction over what's happening in Rivers State, because I think what we are doing now and what we are seeing happening today is a situation where if Wike disagrees with you, the state would burn. That's exactly what is happening, and that's why we have a state of emergency today. And of course, when you see where brothers fight, foreigners come, eat over whatever belongs to them and control the system there. That's what we're having today in Rivers State. Let me tell you something. The emergence of a bus in Rivers State today has destroyed Rivers economy and destroyed Rivers State completely. I don't blame him so much. I blame the president, because I think that there is this animosity the president has against Rivers people. That is why the president will go ahead. That? No, the point is, it is very obvious with the facts on ground.
No, but this was the case of Cobra. Can you prove the animosity?
No, I'm coming. I'm coming because you ask yourself, what will provoke a president to declare a state of emergency in a Rivers State that was peaceful, that was progressing to an extent, even at the point that the Supreme Court has settled the impasses.
But he had security reports.
The impasses between politicians. If you have security reports, and if you also look at the issues that they actually referred to, one of the issues they referred to was the issue of the bomb blast. Yeah. And the company in question came out to say that, yes, these things happened, but that it didn't actually deal with or destroy most of our critical facilities, and that we have resumed operation. So why are you declaring a state of emergency?
So this is the argument a lot of people on the president's side are making. Would you wait for critical infrastructure to be destroyed before you take action? That's the argument.
No. Of course, certainly you want to actually wait.
So what is wrong with the decision?
No. The decision is wrong from all facets. There is nothing to justify what has happened in Rivers State, because the president, I think the president did not consider a lot of factors, like the economical factors and other developmental factors within Rivers State. Remind yourself that Tinubu has not done anything in Rivers State as of today, since he became president. And one will say that it looks like an animosity against Rivers people. You ask yourself that if you
done anything in Rivers
there's
State.
Nothing from the federal government.
But FARC is going on. FARC allocation is going on.
No,
that's been shared across the state.
See, these are federal character issues and are constitutional things that naturally belongs to the people of Rivers State. And I'm coming. And another thing is this: when you also look at what is happening in Rivers State today, you discover that there is serious hunger in Rivers State for the past 2 months. There is serious hunger. The economic investors are being depleted. Investors are no longer coming in. We have a man who does whatever he likes, appointed people, and Let me tell you, the shocking part is that all the ongoing projects within River State has been suspended as at today.
You saw that. The lawyer was really emotional. He was angry. So he missed some of the opportunities that Rufai brilliantly opened up to him to completely nail the argument. Like when he said Tinubu had animosity towards River State, Rufai asked him to prove it. I am 100% sure Rufai expected him to say, why has Tinubu not equally declared state of emergency in places like Benue, Borno, and Zamfara? Why Rivers? But he was too angry to think in that direction. And when he said Tinubu had not done anything in River State, Rufai said, but the FAC allocations are coming in. He expected him to say Tinubu seized the same allocations and only began releasing them when he brought in the sole administrator. But the bottom line remains that Tinubu is out to destroy this country. River State, being an oil-producing state, is supposed to be one of the most investor-friendly states in Nigeria. Now you have gone ahead to install a sole administrator there. That is anti-democracy. Investors would rather do business in a Burkina Faso that has made it clear that they are under military rule than in Nigeria that is openly abusing democracy, pretending to be practicing democracy. Because one of the first things that investors look out for is integrity and stability, and both have been grossly violated and abused in the suspension of Fubara in River State. What a disaster. The oil companies that took their investments out of Nigeria, e.g. Total Energies, would be laughing at the ones that are still in Nigeria today. And I can say without mincing words that the action of Tinubu in River State is already preparing many multinationals to flee this country. It is going to lead to more exits of foreign companies. Let's just be warming up for announcements, because I am sure that many of them are only just putting their houses together. What a catastrophe. Now, let us look at the top stories. First is that attack on democracy in Akpabio State by Akpabio. And next is that terrible update coming out of northeast Nigeria. The chief of defense staff disgraced after he claimed that the army had a firm grip on northeast, that Nigerians should not worry. He said that during his visit to Borno State, but just as he was speaking, Boko Haram carried out a brutal attack right in the state. Let's start by taking that update from Akpabio. Look at how the papers reported it. There will be nothing like political parties in 2027. Akpabio, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, declared during his midterm empowerment event in Ikote Ekpene, Akwa State, that political parties will become irrelevant in the state by the 2027 elections. He claimed the People's Democratic Party is in shreds and its symbol, the umbrella, can no longer offer protection. According to Akpabio, all political parties in the state have collapsed into unanimous support for Bola Tinubu, Governor Umo Eno, and himself. Wow, Akpabio openly said that. What a sad situation to democracy in Nigeria. But in a way, I am happy that some of these things are happening. It is better these dictators come out and admit that they are dictators instead of hiding under the lies of being democratic. One day, someone in ECOWAS will eventually tell Tinubu that, Oga, you can't continue to be the chairman of this body because there is no democracy in your country. Another good thing about Akpabio and Tinubu openly killing democracy in Nigeria and enforcing military rule is that the same way people rose to fight the military regime to install democracy in 1999, people may now emerge that will fight them too. I know it looks as if they are going to have this field day forever, but we can never completely rule out the possibility that they will eventually be opposed and removed. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that update from the northeast began circulating. The Chief of Defense Staff, Christopher Musa, traveled to Borno State and said this: Nigerians shouldn't worry over insurgent attacks in northeast. Military in control. He made this statement on Thursday morning in Borno, Maiduguri, and less than an hour after he made that statement in that same Borno, terrorists proved him wrong, dared him with a brutal attack, and even stayed and repelled and defeated security forces that tried to rescue the victims. Look at how the papers reported it. ISWAP reportedly kills 23 farmers, fishermen near Baga in Borno as military chiefs meet in Abuja, Sahara reporters. At least 23 farmers and fishermen have been killed by fighters of the Islamic State of West Africa province in Malami Karanti, a village located 5 kilometers from Baga town in Kukawa local government area of Borno State. The attack, which occurred on Thursday morning, saw the terrorists assemble and execute the victims, most of whom were being farmers, according to sources from the area. The terrorists spared an elderly man who later alerted the community. The terrorists assembled people in Malam Karanti and killed them. Most of the victims were being farmers, a source said. Attempts by residents and security agencies to retrieve the corpses were met with further violence as the terrorists reportedly returned to launch another attack. We tried to organize a rescue mission with security agencies to recover the victims' bodies, but the terrorists returned and prevented us. Many families are waiting for their loved ones, another source said. Malami Karanti is known as an ISWAP enclave, yet civilians continue to farm and fish there due to limited options for livelihood in the region. Wow, you saw that. The audacity of these terrorists in Nigeria today is alarming. The Chief of Defense Staff made a statement in Borno State saying the military had a firm grip on the region and that Nigerians don't have to worry. And while he was still in the state, they attacked and took 23 lives. They spared an old man to go and alert the community. Who does that? People, if they were attacking and running, because the army is trying to make us believe there is a guerrilla war, they just attack and they run away. But on this occasion, they freed an old man to go and alert the community. And when the security forces tried to show they were in charge and they attempted to collect the corpses of the victims, they were defeated by the terrorists. If you are familiar with my updates, you may have noticed that anytime anyone from Tinubu's government tries to imply that they are in control of the security situation, the terrorists will strike, and when they strike, they will strike hard. They do this to show Nigerians that if they are not attacking yet, it is either they are just hibernating or they are having mercy. It doesn't mean that anything has happened to them. And under this condition, Tinubu's ministers will head to London on May 29 to unveil Tinubu's achievements. What achievements, for crying out loud? We had a country that was thriving under Jonathan. Tinubu and Buhari teamed up to remove Jonathan using Shetima's boys. Now they have completely turned the nation on her head and they said it is worth celebrating. What a shame. And Iroko here, reacting to what happened in Borno State, the killing of 23 farmers, says, wow, does it mean that the government doesn't hear about these killings everywhere in Nigeria, or are they busy thinking about 2027 election? It is disheartening hearing these every day. They can hear. On this particular occasion, the Chief of Defense Staff was in Borno State when this happened. He made a statement to show that they were in charge, and the people countered him. They can hear, but they don't care. They are only thinking about 2027, how to remain in power and continue to loot the nation's treasury. And in other news, 3 Borno residents dead during stampede at humanitarian cash aid distribution, Sahara reporters. Now, when they do these things, you think they are accidents. No, it is deliberate. There are many ways that you can, comfortably make people receive cash, even if you want to distribute cash. But then you make it haphazard. You do it in a way that there will be stampede for people to die. You make them look like destitutes, like slaves in their own country. So, and this happened in Borno State. You are not only killing them with insecurity, you are also killing them by treating them like animals. What a shame. Tomorrow, Bayo Ononuga will come and say that the economy has picked up. Economy has picked up and people are killing themselves in Borno State because of highest 1,500 or 2,000 naira. Even in Oyo State the other day, this same thing happened. Stampede because of rice. What kind of country is this? And Loyalty here says, but how come citizens of a country that just paid off its debt be stampeding for cash? I mean the third fastest growing economy in the world. Aren't they aware that inflation has dropped to the lowest ever? No, this must be fake news. Dear Bayo Ononuga, are you seeing this? He's mocking Bayo Ononuga there. Yesterday, they came out with the lie that inflation has dropped in Nigeria. It is just propaganda, and more propaganda. Nothing to show in real life. Your nation is the poorest nation in the world, the poverty capital of the world. We are now doing worse than almost all the African countries. We used to be number 1 in GDP. Now we are number 5 or number 6. And instead of you to consider all these things and do the right thing, you have chosen to spread propaganda all the way, to the point that your ministers are planning to go to London on May 29 to disgrace themselves. Because the whole world knows this international community that you think you want to go and deceive, they know more about the problems of Nigeria than even you and I. So you are just going there to disgrace yourselves. But this is the APC. I am not surprised. They have come to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And that is why I keep telling Nigerians that for us to have a country that we can be proud of, as a matter of fact, for us to still have a country at all in the near future, we must come together, cast our sentiments aside, and get rid of the APC. But until then, make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una. Now I dey here, so don't go away.